Hey, everybody. I'm Chad Eckert, and that's Joe Idoni. This is the Preferred Lines podcast. We're on iTunes and YouTube. You could follow us on Twitter at Preferred Lines. Joe, we made it through a major.
What's
I
up, man?
feel a little hungover today on a Monday. I'm like, do we want to get up for the Wyndham? But I mean, I don't know, because West Coast time, my wife hates it. Does your wife hate it?
Well, I think she was okay with it. To be honest with you, I thought I was really going to dig it, and then it got to the point where I was like, man, I just want these guys to tee off because it was like midday nap time, and I'm just sitting around waiting all day for the leaders. But it was fun, man. It was a good championship, a good course setup. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little discouraged by the finish just because I had so many good positions going in, and none of them were Colin Morikawa. So it is what it is. Well, it was fun, though. Good for him.
Morikawa, that guy's the real deal, Joe. My God. These young guys, they've got no fear.
No fear, and beyond that, it was just great to see him win. You know, you've got so many cool factors about it beyond him just being young, right? He's intelligent. He speaks well. He seems to get it. You know, he's charming. He's got a nice little smile on him, and he just and his swing is unbelievable. He plays really, really well.
The young guys did not have to face the factor of the fans. There was no added crowd pressure, and Jason Day sat one back with his arms crossed at the point when he was finished, saying, "Dang it. These kids had to face it. I know I could have faced the test, but will they face the test as well as I could have?" I don't think he was pissed. I think he wanted the fans there to maybe rile Morikawa, to give him a little bit, because Morikawa has taken advantage of this situation. He has not been distracted because look at a couple weeks ago, Morikawa nailed the putt after JT crushed that 50, 75 footer. There would be noise for days, I think.
Yeah, they would have blown the roof off Memorial.
It's like disrespectful for JT to make a bunch of noise and be clownish. So the moment quiets just in time for Morikawa to nail a 25-footer and have it go to OT. So, and then he took advantage in overtime. Again, no crowds to amp these guys' nerves, and it makes Brooks' ability to block that thing out kind of irrelevant. So Brooks doesn't have his kryptonite on Sunday, and it showed that Morikawa down the stretch didn't have the same pressure. He had some guys cheered in the background through the fences for him. It's the only guy getting cheers for. So, no added adrenaline. We don't know if he would have flown over the greens on 17 and 18 because of the crowd pumping him up. He knows he's about to win a major. Instead, he's kind of calm, cool, and collected. Again, it's not easy to win, regardless of who's there, what kind of stage you're on. But I think this might open the floodgates. Other guys like Wolf was in there, Champ was in there, Scheffler was in there. They're going to see this. They're going to take advantage of the next couple of majors, the next few months. I mean, there's money to be made. There's $15 million on the line. They're not going to have the nerves as much. Am I wrong? Are we going to see this, the U.S. Open, the same kind of thing in a month from now? Should we be betting the young guys, Joe, right now? Let's take advantage. They're not going to fall victim to the pressure of the major.
I think it's hard for me to say. I think it boils down a little bit to each individual player. I think it's a factor. It would be foolish to say that it's not. But look, he still had a ton of pressure on his shoulders. I think any way you slice it, that shot on 16, he knew the entire PGA Championship and his first major victory, the biggest win of his entire life, was riding on that tee shot. And he stepped up there and hit it to like 7 feet from 300 some yards. So it's hard to look back and say what would have been different, how things would have changed with fans, because we'll never know. But like you said, the young guys are poised. They're playing well. I was incredibly impressed with our guy, Matthew Wolff. I thought he could have been right there at around 13 under. My brother texted me. He's like, Wolff should be 13, 14 under when he finished, and he was right. The other guy I came away with incredibly impressed with was Scotty Scheffler. This dude is cool, man. He's just no pressure. He seemed to kind of have like in between those DJ and Brooks vibes where nothing can really faze him. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's calm, he's collected, and he hit some incredible shots. didn't quite get there, but I'll have my eyes on Scheffler in the next run up, the next 2 months or so.
Absolutely. I love Scheffler. I know that Josh Culp likes him too. He called him out a couple years ago. We had Culp on our podcast, Fantasy Golf Podcast. That's another great podcast you can get on the iTunes network, Fantasy Golf Pod on Twitter. Josh says Scheffler could be the next one. I mean, there's a lot of names. There's some good names, and they're in. Some of them are even in the field here. And Joe, we could get right to the board because there's no front nine guests this week. No one wanted to follow up Feinberg for the Wyndham. It's kind of a letdown spot. So, I don't blame them. They want bigger stages. These guests, they want to be in the playoffs. So we've got some good guests lined up for the next couple of weeks in the playoffs. So keep in mind, we're not going to be done having real experts on, are we, by any means?
You're stuck with us this week, though.
Again, also, if you think you have the ability to speak on video and with words, hit us up. Come on this podcast. If you've got some business to hawk or a product you want to sell, just come on. Let us know. We're looking for people to come on and have a sharp opinion and a different viewpoint. So hit us up. DM us.
Bring it on.
Bird lines. But with that said, it is time to move on. It's time for – this is like week 17 of the NFL playoffs, I feel.
Yeah.
Or the NFL season where you're about to get to the playoffs. And, like, some people care. Other people don't care.
The quarterback's resting. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are – one team is playing. We got Brooks and Webb. But they're like, here we go. Should we crack our beers and crack open the betting board as we do every week when we make the turn?
Cheers, buddy. I'm vodka and Sprite tonight. Had no beers in the fridge. It's tough times in the Idonia house this week.
This is my last beer in my fridge. I drank so much beer this week. Dude, you start at 3 o'clock. I mean, like you were saying.
Oh, man. Put the kids in bed at 7:30 and the leaders are making the turn. Come on.
I love it. But here we go. The Wyndham at the tippity tip top this week. Mr. Wyndham himself, Webb Simpson. And we know Webb at 9.5 to 1 loves North Carolina, loves this course, and the books know it, and they've priced it to be that way. 9.5 to 1. I've seen. Any interest in the top of the board there for course history, Webb?
No, I think he's a great player. Look, I love Webb Simpson. A perfect setup for him. Under 10 to 1, Webb Simpson. I'm gonna have to pass.
Well, then you're gonna go to Brooks right there. He's at 11.
No.
Is Brooks dead? Is he going to be alive here or is he dead?
Everyone needs to chill on Brooks and stop overreacting. It's like Thursday, he was the greatest player of all time, and he's going to mow down the field, and everyone wants to, like, hop back on the bandwagon. And then Sunday, everyone wants to stomp on his grave as he had a couple bad shots and just didn't have it. He made some ill-advised bogeys. I think he was reaching, and it's just one of those days. It's golf, man. Some days you have it, some days you don't. But people, I think, were quick to try and bury him because of some of the comments that he made, which I thought was a little bit unfair. Look, it's how he gets himself fired up, and you have to respect that. It's you look at some of the best athletes in sports, they all have their ways. Some guys can take the littlest thing and use it as motivation to try and get themselves ready. He took it upon himself to make those comments that maybe he shouldn't have. Rory said he never would have said it, but they're two totally different people. I get that.
Well, you know what?
Is what it is.
That's the MJ in him. He's a little bit like Tom Brady. I said it to you. He has that weird mentality. They're just like different.
Me against the world, man.
There's not a lot of people like that, but is it good for the game? Is it good for the PGA Tour to have Brooks be like that?
My answer is yes. Definitively yes. The more drama and the more storylines and the more rivalries we can get from these guys, the better. He's still on the course, doesn't make a fool out of himself. You don't hear him on the hot mics cursing out his caddy or, complaining about shots or making remarks to his partner that aren't, Paul Casey said after the round he was a total gentleman all day while playing terrible golf. Says a lot. I think Paul Casey probably would have said that about just about anybody. But on the course, you have to respect him, and he commands it, and he deserves it, and he didn't have his best stuff. But I have no doubt that come Winged Foot, everyone will want to be back on board when he's 6 under par through 2 days.
But on the course, sure, and maybe at majors, but off the course and on the press conferences, he's like kind of a dick. Did the karma catch him? Was it a karma thing?
I don't think so, but I understand where people who just don't like Brooks are obviously going to lean toward that take and that side of things. I think he would have said what he said regardless of if he knew he was going to have that kind of day on Sunday or if he knew he was going to finish. It doesn't matter to him. He speaks his mind. He tells you like it is, and take it or leave it. If you don't like it, then he doesn't care.
Right. This has been his shtick for like 2 years, and if
and
I
I
don't
don't
things like this is what he just says whatever the hell he wants to say. Like at the Fantasy Golf Pod YouTube page, I got a bunch of viral things because I've used him.
exactly. And I know, I heard Jeff earlier, our guest last week, and he thinks it's sort of a shtick and an act, and I get why people think that. But he hasn't changed. It's been this way for 3-4 years. He said exactly how he feels. People hate it. People don't like that about him, which I understand, and it comes off arrogant to some. But there's a very fine line. I said this to Artie, who kind of went after him, but there's a razor-thin line between arrogance and confidence, and I think he straddles it pretty well. And he doesn't say anything that's completely disrespectful to other people, but he's more confident in himself.
He says some disrespectful shit about Bryson every once in a while where you're like,
yeah, but I think it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, so I don't think it's 100% like he's going after him. I think that they are probably better friends and they would let people along. They kind of went after each other a little bit with the abs and the trophies, so.
Yep. No, it's a bully nerd kind of thing that they play up for people, and they know it's getting them sponsors. They know Puma loves it, so we're not dumb. Right. But what is Brooks going to do this week? Are you confident in his abilities at 11-1? Maybe is he going to win? Would you bet him?
I'm not going to bet him. I just feel like it was a tough week. He came off Memphis. I saw it there where I thought down the stretch in Memphis he was limping a little bit. I think he put in a ton of reps to try and really win that tournament on Saturday and Sunday with his caddy and on the range and with, Kenyon and his swing coach and his putting coach and his chipping coach. He had, Team Brooks was all on board. Then you back that up on another week, fly across to the West Coast, a full workload ahead of you again. I just think he may be a little bit run down. But that said, he needs the points and he needs to climb. The FedEx Cup is so unique, and, a lot of people forget how they changed it around last year, and it's a staggered start. So who's ever first is going to start the tournament -10. It's almost impossible to come from really far back in that tournament when you're 7, 8, 9 strokes off the lead to begin. So I think these points are important to him. That said, I'm not going to bet him. What about you?
Okay. No, I got no interest. I got really no interest in anybody under 20-1. And that includes, I might play Patrick Reed, APPR on DraftKings, but to bet him at 14-1 here, I didn't see the best form from him last week, although he did play better in his round 4 at 14-1. No thanks. Fleetwood, same thing. Iron play, not as good. 14-1. No thanks. You got Casey and Rose sitting at 20-1. Any interest in those names?
I have some interest in Justin Rose. I haven't bet him yet. He was one of those positions that I caught a ridiculous number on last week at 140-1. So that was a really nice sweat for me. And he scrambled his ass off all week. He was missing fairways and somehow grinding out pars and then making clutch birdies when he needs to. He's one of those guys, if you look at the FedEx Cup points, that's down in that 80 to 90 range-ish. I don't quote me on that, but he's really far down the list. He needs to perform well this week. It's important for him. He hasn't been able to back up a good performance with another one, which has me a little bit worried. But I think this week he has a little added sense of motivation with the FedEx Cup that some of these other guys at the top of your odds boards don't.
Okay. I typically avoid Rose in situations where it's a Wyndham trophy because Rose likes to host big, good, important trophies and not little ones. So, especially at 20, gosh, that's why I'm just not feeling it. In English, too, at 25, that's kind of steep for him. He's a top 10 guy, more or less. I don't know if he can pull a win off in this field, but I like the 30 33. I like Billy Ho, 33. Give me some of that. Should we talk about the 30s? Because this is
let's
kind
go
of a
there.
range of misfits. You got Brendan Todd and Jordan Spieth and Siwoo Kim and Sungjae Im and then Horschel. I mean, this is kind of fun. A little bit of an odd range, but I've got to click on this range. It's a big one. I got Billy Ho. I like him a lot. He's due. He might be more due than anybody. He hasn't won since May of 2017.
Wow.
And we know, Joe, this is Billy's time of year, the playoff time, August. Yeah. This is when he usually pops, and he's back on Bermuda. Even though he's been gaining great with his putter. He's been gaining his last 4 events, and he's the grass he likes the most. He likes it here, too. The last 5 years, T5, T60, T11, T6. He's flirted with the top, with the leaderboard. So Billy Ho at 33, he could class this field.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's a warranted quality play there at 33-1. I haven't taken it. I looked at Billy Ho a lot. I looked at Sungjae a lot. I was very interested in Sungjae this week just because he played well here last year. I think he was first-round leader here last year. He's back on Bermuda grass. He's back on a course that seems to fit his style. But
I'm getting.
I know. I took Brendan Todd though, believe it or not, 40-1.
What, to win?
Yeah, to win.
He's gonna win. He's gonna finish the job. No, maybe he needs to come in
one of those
couple
rare,
strokes back.
Those rare 54-hole leader odds boards. He was 8-1.
Yeah.
But look, it's. I kind of looked at some corollary stats. I actually watched Rick Gaiman's little preview show earlier, and everything that Brendan Todd does well has been exactly what his correlated to winning this tournament in the years past. It's driving accuracy, it's iron plays, and it's putting. He gains in all 3 of those. He's the most accurate driver on tour. His iron play is unbelievable. How he's short. I mean, let's. I'm not going to mince words here. He's short off the tee, and how he competed last week at the PGA Championship, and even Memphis to that degree is. You have to have the most ridiculous iron play you could possibly imagine to even compete there. And he gained strokes putting, particularly on Bermuda grass. We know he can get a hot putter. He's one of the best on tour. I don't know, man. Look, he's like 9th right now in FedEx Cup points, maybe 10th. He can actually, I'm not sure how many points are on the line this week, but he can climb up potentially even to that top spot with a win. And can you imagine going into the FedEx Cup Playoffs Championship and Brendan Todd's got the -10 start?
No, I kind of just had an epiphany. He really might actually want it the most too, because he's felt like he deserves a win. He's like, what the hell? I deserve a win. I've been up there so many times. I've done well. I should get another win. Plus, if he gets a win, he's like the front runner for Player of the Year, and he probably knows this.
He has to be. Todd God is going to have 3 wins. Unbelievable.
Huh. So that's interesting. I like that.
He's shown the ability, obviously, with the back-to-back wins to string together form when he's in form. Look, he had no business competing at the WGC. He had 0 business competing at Harding Park. This is a place that actually sets up well for him. And the field is a little bit weakened. He doesn't have to take out the Rahms and Rorys and JTs and all these guys. He's got to take out Webb Simpson and potentially an unmotivated Brooks. So we'll see.
Well, I'll take him over at Spieth. Ugh.
Yeah, God. Something's up there.
Yeah, something's wrong. I mean, he could easily pop for 1 round because we've seen that, but that to put 4 together, I don't have any faith in that. And same kind of goes with Siwoo there. But you know what? You talked about him. I'm getting back on. I've got a glimmer of hope with Sungjae Im last week. Finally gained on approach. Not a lot, but he actually has a green square on Fantasy National. But you know what? It's good enough for me. And he lost with his putter last week, which is odd because he gained the week before 8 strokes. The WGC Sungjae Im. That was Bermuda. Back on Bermuda here. His most preferred surface. So Sungjae Im is on my betting card.
Good. I'm between him and Horschel, so I'll narrow that down later this week, but I love Sungjae here.
Okay, so we could have a pod bet there. Okay, let's see. Going to the 40s, You have Sergio Garcia, Shane Lowry, JT Poston at 45, Snedeker. Oh, no, he's at 50 now. Okay, well, you got some names. Should we talk about Ches was also at 45 this morning, and now he's at 50. So things have changed around even since this morning.
Yep.
Any interest in this mid 40, 50? Anyone?
I did have some interest right off the bat with Kisner. I feel like he's really popular pick for good reason. Plays well on Donald Ross courses. Played well up at the Rocket Mortgage, which was Donald Ross, which was, potentially a comp course. I know his home course in Georgia is a Donald Ross course as well.
Okay.
I haven't bet it yet. I have some interest. I want to kind of gauge his popularity. If he's going to be a guy that, every single person is on, I may try to look a different way. It kind of feels that way at this point. I haven't dove into too much content, but he seems pretty popular. Sergio's another guy who's actually outside of the FedEx Cup points right now.
I know. That's why he added himself to the field.
He's striking the ball, with the exception of last week, pretty well. We know he can get hot. I don't know if this is a great setup for him, but he's got to be motivated. He's over here for a reason.
So frustrating.
Make the playoffs.
There's so much money on the line.
There's so much money on the line. It has to be a highly motivated spot for him against a weaker field, and he's a class player. So I can see potentially a rebound there. What about you?
I've spent enough money on Sergio this season so far, so I'm kind of done with him. Yeah. And I've spent a lot of money on Snedeker, and I feel like I'm finally ready to get some money back, maybe? Or am I? I really don't like him, but I can talk myself into him. He's kind of like Casey last week, where like anybody can be good all of a sudden, especially these veteran guys where you just are bad forever, but then all of a sudden you pop because you're at home maybe to a course he likes that he shot 59 at and won 2 years ago. He finished 5th and 3rd at a different time here. And they go home and this guy goes, "Oh, your foot needs to be pointed out this other way." And he's like, "Gosh, I didn't really think." Oh, boom. Now he's sniping everything to 2 feet.
Yeah. It's usually harder, with Casey, it was a ton of short game and putting. Right. Well, and that seems like the quickest fix in terms of if you're going to get right and get with a coach and spend, a couple of days grinding, how you fix something. The iron play and approach game is tougher.
Dude, that's why I could lead myself to talking myself out of Snedeker.
Much red. It's so much red. You look up Fantasy National at his numbers. It's just a sea of red.
His approach is bad. His putter's inconsistent. He's missed a cut, T41. His cut, dead last, T51.
So, like you said, is this where he shot a 59?
Right, 2 years ago.
It is? Okay. So, who knows? He's got good
And it's 50, though, Joe. We can't do 50. That's a terrible number. That's like a joke. You're paying for like a good Snedeker coming in, and he's bad. Right. So if he was at like 80, I'd be interested.
Right.
I don't like Ches though, and people might like him or think that that's a good idea, but he just doesn't play well on Bermuda. I looked up, so I'm off. If there's any reason to do anything, you got to think of some reasons, and grass types typically a reason. Connors, Neiman, Kisner, like you said, Henley, Moore. These are popular 50-1 names.
I feel like Moore could go well here. I don't really have any stats to back it up, but it just seems like the type of shorter course that he can get really hot with his irons. And it's going to be minus 20 probably winning score, if not more. Yep. So I don't know. I just got a feeling about him. It seems like a spot that could be set up for him. I'm not sure where he's at in the points race as well, but I'm sure he's going to come in with some motivation.
Connors' iron play and Henley's iron play are something to take a look at. Corey Connors, number 9. Russell Henley, number 1 since restart in this field in approach.
Still number 1.
Henley, 100. Yeah, Henley's number 1 in approach in the field, I guess, according to Fantasy National. Henley, 133rd in putting, though, and Connors 142nd. There's like 150 people here, so it's not good putting numbers, but we know how that could change.
Yeah.
Maybe they're easy greens to putt on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily like Henley and Birdie Fest just because he's going to have to putt so well over the course of 4 days and make so many bombs. But, Bermuda, we've seen him win at PGA, which is Bermuda. So, maybe he can – it's a preferred grass type for him.
Let's get going into the 60s. What do you have here? Christian Bezunut, 66. Doc Redman and Dylan Fratelli. Harold Varner, you can find him at 70 in some books or 66 other places. Interest in maybe the guy of the week is HV3. I got him at 90, and I'm playing him. I'm using him, betting him.
I like HV3. I always like HV3, though. I watched a little bit of him last week when I think he was with Pat Reed. Seemed to play pretty well. One guy in this range, I'm trying to find his number here on, Bovada, but I got him at 60 earlier. I don't know. We didn't talk about him. Was JT Poston, right? Defending champ.
Okay. Yeah. He's 45 now.
Okay. So I got a 60 on him. So I feel good about that. Defending champ here, plays well. He's kind of native to this South Carolina, whatever area, the region of the country that they're in. Going back to a place where he won, so some good vibes.
Bogey free.
Can he repeat? Yeah, bogey free last year. Unbelievable. But I feel
that just makes me nervous, though, Joe, because I feel like JT Poston will show up and have like a bogey on the first hole and be like, got him already worse than last year.
I kind of, for his sake, I kind of hope he bogeys the first hole. Just get it out of the way. So get that monkey off the back. But he seems to play really well. The faster that they ramp up the green speeds, which they're always really fast here at Sedgefield. So the faster that they ramp him up, he seems to putt a little bit better. I like him. He's a good player.
Last name I'll say before we get out of this and go to the long shot, 66-1, Dylan Fratelli. You can get him maybe at 70 it's somewhere, but John Deere winner last July, unable to defend that tournament because they gave it the axe. So maybe he's just looking to get a win and feel like he's defending something, and it's about that time of year.
Fratelli is tilting, man. I love Fratelli, and I've been on him for a while. But if you bet him or you play him in DraftKings, it's so tilting, like checking his scorecard, because I played him a lot last week, and he would start off like 5 under through 6 holes, birdie, eagle, and then all of a sudden they cut back to him, and you're like, where did those 4 strokes go? And he'd lose it all back.
That's because he can't play in these hard courses with low scores. He all his birdie barrages. Check it out, okay? T6 at Sanderson, T7 at Safeway, T11 at Mayakoba, the resort course. Those are things to consider. He likes to just go low. He'll come out and have a flirt with 60 on one day. He might be a showdown DraftKings play more than a bet to win. But I remember a couple years ago on the Corn Ferry Tour, he was leading in strokes gained total or tee to green or one of the important stats, and they were like, that correlates with wins on the PGA Tour eventually, and he's only got one, and it was last July. So I think I've seen him play well. So Fratelli at 66 is interesting to me.
Okay.
I mean, that's weird, but that's what we're at here compared to last week where 66 was a real good names. But
yeah, it's a weird.
Any interest in some long shots? Let's do some long bombs. I mean, 80-1 really isn't that big of a bomb, but do you have anyone like Norlander? I think he's 80.
He's up there. I've taken 2 guys so far. I took Lonto Griffin at 100-1.
Well, then you get your money back.
Why? He's out?
He withdrew. Sad face.
Jeez. All right. Well,
I know. I put money on him. Like, I literally put money on him. Dink, $1 or something. Went to Twitter. Scroll. Oh, crap.
Bolton bomb.
Yeah, Bolton bombed.
He flew
Rob
up.
Bolton. Follow him. But
all
anyway,
right. So Lonto Griffin's off the card. Tell me this guy's still on there. Denny, 140?
Yeah. Putting right. Denny machine.
Love Denny on some Bermuda. Denny had 3 eagles last week at Harding Park.
What?
Yeah. 3
I guess I saw a couple of them.
And that fucking shot that Morikawa hit, I was joking with Baroff about it because he said it was the greatest shot in major.
No, yeah. Yes, 2 holes
McCarthy
earlier.
Put it closer. McCarthy put it to 2 feet. Unbelievable, dude. He's driving the ball really well. I think it was at Travelers, that drivable par 4. He almost holed out for an albatross. And I feel like he's added some length, and we know how – look, you look at the guys who've won this event and they get a streaking hot Bermuda grass putter. Denny can do that. Let's see.
Okay. I think Sam Burns is known as Bermuda Burns, so at 100-1.
Sam Burns.
Let's do that. Really, though, what's his name? Maverick McNeely, another Mick I like, 80-1.
Okay. He
was kind of like a little under the radar, but kind of sneaky good. He's like a Matt Fitzpatrick that no one takes him seriously because he looks like he's 14. I don't know. Yeah. cracks 125 down here. I think that could be interesting. He was T6 last year here.
Mm-hmm.
He had withdrawn from something, so maybe he's got an injury scare and wasn't popping the last couple of weeks. So I don't know, but I don't know. 125 to 1 seems out of place for Kokrak in this field, especially.
There's a random name I saw pop in a little bit. What do you think about Chesson Hadley?
I have him written down too.
Do you?
Too good. He's a North Carolina guy.
I know, and he's actually driving the ball really well. He's gaining strokes putting.
Wasn't he Rookie of the Year on PGA?
No idea.
I think he was like 2 or 4 years ago. Like, he's totally underachieved. And this is the type of field that he could barnstorm. He does that every once in a while.
He's one I had circled. He's up there. Another guy I had down was Luke List. I played him last week, and he just kind of hovered around even par all week. But this seems like the type of setup where, it's not necessarily a bomber's course, but he plays well at these kind of tracks where it requires some accuracy and short wedges.
Okay. I was going to ask you about Grace, the fact that he was like winning the Barracuda, and then they told him he had COVID, so he had to withdraw. So any interested in Brendan Grace?
It's just weird what they're doing with these guys. Like, are they going to, so that he doesn't have to play by himself anymore, correct? As long as he doesn't have symptoms. I don't know.
Guidelines,
you're right.
Man.
It's just strange because
changes every day.
With Fratelli and Harris English, I think Fratelli is still testing positive every week that they test.
Yeah, they're
for like 6 weeks, and he's just like,
your nose hairs are just very potent.
He's COVID. Just ripping positive tests left and right, but he's just out there grinding. But it's I don't know what to really think of Brandon Grace. He's so inconsistent, but I do feel like he usually plays better on hard setups where you get a little bit of weather or wind, and this birdie fest I don't know necessarily suits him. But then again, at the same token, he was, like you said, he was leading in position at the Barracuda, which was the ultimate birdie fest and Eagle Fest.
This is basically Barracuda Junior, or Senior. If you want a top 10 bet, Mark Hubbard is actually a good golfer, and at 150 to 1, I think that might be a good top 10 number. And then Will Gordon is a North Carolina guy born here in this state, probably used to the grass in a birdie machine in a birdie fest. Will Gordon is 150. That's Cecil's guy. So maybe pop him on a one. Or
my guy. Speaking of guys, my guy Ryan Armour's back in the field this week. He's a guy who plays great on Bermuda grass, plays great at shorter courses, plays great at Donald Ross courses. If you look at the last Donald Ross at the Rocket Mortgage, that's where he was like third or something.
I know, and then I tried to like him, dude, because he's good here or whatever recently, or like his course history showed up, and then I saw he missed a cut at Barracuda. Does that concern you, or was he just worn out?
I don't know. He's just not that good, so he's going to miss cuts.
So he can miss a cut every once in a while.
Yeah, but it's
part of it.
These kind of courses that you get something out there, 285 off the tee in the middle of the fairway, and they've all got a pitching wedge in. So I feel like it's a good setup for him.
Well, should we be done talking names since this kind of went long because there's no guest? We talked a little bit about Brooks more than we need to, but we like Brooks, and it's kind of fun to talk about him and his character. Do you want to recap your preferred plays of the week, or do you want to wait till Wednesday and tweet them?
I'll tell you what I got right now. So I got the Todd Father at 40 to 1, JT Poston, defending champ, 60 to 1. My 100 to 1 guy is apparently withdrawn. Hope he doesn't have COVID. And I got Denny, 140 to 1. So I've got a 3-man card right now, but I'm probably going to add either Horschel or Sungjae in that 30 range. We've seen a lot of winners come in the 30 to 40 range. And I'm thinking about Justin Rose too. It's just going to be a short number to take him at. I just don't know.
Yeah. I do have Horschel on my card at 33, and I put a big bet on him at the WGC like an idiot. And I just watched him make a bunch of birdies, but also make a bunch of doubles. So if he can control that, then maybe he can pop and win or compete. Sungjae, him at 35. Nobody's liking him anymore. Feels like a good opportunity to get in on a sneaky 35 to 1 number for Sungjae. I think it's already dropping too.
Get in on him.
Not so sneaky. Fratelli at 66, and then McNeely at 80, and HV3 at 90, and Snorton the Kokrak at 125 to 1 for his first PGA Tour win. He hasn't won ever. He's going to win at 125 to 1 this week, and it's beyond my card. I love it.
Cool, man. Well, it was fun talking Sedgefield Wyndham with you. Playoffs next week. We'll be back to the normal scenario where we have a guest. We'll give away a towel next week. I tried to give one away, and I had like 75 people comment, and nobody had Morikawa minus 13. So
Oh, shit.
you all got it wrong. A bunch of people
Well,
have
that was dumb.
Morikawa, but you didn't have the correct score. So we still got some
Try
towels
again.
to give away. We'll do it next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, people.
Thanks, people. Peace.
Talk to you later.